This will maybe polarise a few people because we're going up north. It's Burnley versus Newcastle. The visitors off of a comfortable 2-0 home win against Arsenal. Been very good home and away since Eddie Howe took over. Well done, Eddie. Burnley at plus 140. Newcastle at plus 210. The draw is at plus 225. Newcastle, draw no bet at plus 125. I'm in an R in Marco here, whether this is an unders game because Burnley have to stay in the game as long as possible. But I don't know what Newcastle's turning up. If you fancy the under 2.5, it is juiced at minus 130.
Yeah, I found this close to impossible to make a really strong case right now because we don't know the permutations after Thursday. If Burnley were to go to Villa and get a result, then it changes everything really about this match. Whereas if Burnley lose that match, it's everything to play for as well. So, I don't want to be boring and dull, but it's just very difficult to sort of pin your colours to a mast when you don't know what's at stake. I think last week we saw a different, basically Burnley reverting to old school Burnley, which was defend well, be organised and difficult to beat against Tottenham. And Nick Pope was very, very good, and I thought they defended very well. But before that, they have been sort of transitioning to be a bit more attack-minded, possession-heavy, and comfortable on the ball under Mike Jackson. So the issue here is, what do they need to do? I think that will dictate their approach here. They could easily follow up last week's performance and be quite rigid and defensively sound. And if that's the case, then absolutely, I think the unders would be the right shout. But it's whether you think they can get a result against Villa that will sort of determine your view on this weekend's match. And I'm not convinced they will get a result at Villa, and therefore they might have to play a bit more front foot against Newcastle, who have had an excellent turnaround. I know the money and the signings have definitely helped, but some of them haven't worked out. Some of them have been injured as well. And I think Eddie Howe does deserve praise for improving some of the players who were there before he arrived. The 2 points off ninth, they showed on Monday night. I know it was at home, so that obviously gives you an extra boost, but they're still kind of playing out the season. They've only lost 4 times against teams outside the top 6 as well, which is really quite surprising. And they scored in all but 4 of their Premier League games since Christmas. 3 of the 4 they didn't were against Man City, Liverpool and Chelsea. So I absolutely believe that they can cause Burnley problems, particularly with Callum Wilson returning from injury, Sam Maximan, even Almiron's looked quite lively in recent weeks as well. So it really sort of depends on what Burnley we're going to get and what they need to do and what they need to try and achieve. So I would be surprised if this ends in sort of a drab 0-0. I think Burnley are going to have to play front foot football here, and if that's the case, I think both teams to score as a runner.
I can see this being 0-0. Stinch, Burnley have got to be thinking to themselves, if they don't get nothing midweek, then they probably need a point. Okay, but it's one of those. It's like with 25 minutes to go, they have to assess the situation. It will be one of those back in the day where you had the radio on and what happens at other games gets filtered down. I see this being draw halftime, and I'm even happy to go with the draw at plus 225 because if this is a draw after 70 minutes and Leeds are getting beat, then, and obviously we don't know how Burnley are going to go midweek, but this could definitely end up in a draw.
Yeah, I think all the value here is with Newcastle, to be honest. You've already mentioned how well they've been playing since Eddie Howe has taken over. He's taken them from second bottom to 12th. Very, 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 very good job he's done that. And it's not as if he spent a fortune on world-class stars, if you like. He got Trippier in, who I rate as a quality player, but he's been absent for the past 2 months. Guimaraes has only just really started coming into the team. So
how good was he the other night, by the way?
Yeah, fantastic player. I'm very surprised that he's gone to Newcastle. Obviously, a lot of money involved, probably their motivation, but very, very good player. And then the fact that Newcastle have actually taken Burnley's main striker off them in January, in Chris Wood. And you've seen the opposite directions the 2 teams have gone in. I think that's just a coincidence because Chris Wood's only scored, I think, 1 or 2 goals for Newcastle. So I wouldn't be reading too much into that. Could we just have the odds back up a second, please? Cheers. Yeah. So Newcastle plus 210, I think that's massive. If this was a relegation battle, obviously it would be difficult to convince that Newcastle would be the bet. But let's say, for example, this is midway through the season. No way Newcastle would be outsiders in my mind. I think they'd be joint favourites, if anything. So I think all the values with Newcastle, and if Burnley don't get a win against Villa, what happened last week was when Newcastle needed something after failing to pick up anything at Spurs, we saw Arsenal shorten. So Arsenal's odds got shorter. So I've got an idea here that I think if Burnley don't win at Villa on tonight, that this Newcastle price is going to get even higher. And I really like the look of this over 1.5 Newcastle goals at plus 200. As Mark says, Callum Wilson's back. Sam Maximin's always
if they
a threat.
play. See, there's the other one. Like at the end of the season when you're safe and nothing really to play for, the manager maybe plays them fringe players because it's his last chance to have a little look at them before he gets rid. Because remember, they've got a war chest. So some of these players that have been starting or are going to start, I don't care if they score 9 goals. They're not going to be there next year. So I think this is a lineup check as far as Newcastle goes, because they've probably got half a dozen, 7 players who maybe are not even going to play.
Yeah, maybe. I just really think that Eddie Howe, he's been out of management for a while, wasn't he, after what happened at Bournemouth? And I just think he wants to make every game count. And the more he can make Newcastle, the higher he can make Newcastle finish at the table, the more attractive it is. Obviously, as you say, they've got unlimited money, but you've only got a certain limit of high-class players that you can attract. So the higher you finish up, the more you can attract them. So I just think Newcastle are looking to finish the season as strongly as possible. And make no bones about it, like this Burnley team, it's not fantastic, isn't it? 7 wins in 36.
To be fair to you, they could go to 9th for Newcastle if they get a win, because Leicester are on 48, Brighton are on 48, Brentford are on 46, Newcastle are on 46. So, I mean, there's a real tight mid-table sort of battle going on where you could finish maybe between, 13th or 9th. That's massive. When I think it's something like 2 million a place, is it? Or something bonkers like that. So, no, I get what you're saying, but I can't split these teams. I think it's a lineup check. Maybe you have to wait until after to see what happens midweek with Burnley. Let's have a little look at the officials, because I just couldn't split them and thought that plus 225 was close enough to the magic plus 200. So I'm going with a draw. There's a few people in the chat that also say they like the draw. Comments will be coming up. Management sent me something in my ear saying, Flash, just do your job and leave the graphics and the dynamics of this show to us. So